Hey guys, this is Volonterealtypartners here. This is Andrew and Shong. We're going to go through the steps of how to buy a home in 2024. So Shong's going to go over the questions and we're just kind of going to coach you through it in easy steps.
I'll be the buyer and you'll be Volonté realtor.
Sounds good, let's go.
Okay, so the first question is, where do I start?
Yes, that's the number one question, is because right now when you start with the home buying process, you don't know where to go and all that stuff. Where you want to start is trying to find a realtor and a lender. They typically, how you find your the best way to find your realtors is through family and friends, referrals. Referrals has always been the best way, what they're experienced with, and that's how you also find the lender. If you don't know where to find a realtor, you should go interview 3 of them. I would suggest interview 3 of them. Kind of see what their experience. Most importantly, who's going to coach you through the process and who's going to educate you and hold your hand through this process and help you understand the goal, what you're looking for. Lenders are kind of similar. I usually try to find where they kind of match my vibe, the energy, who can answer my questions, pick up the phone, people that work all the way to night, not just kind of cut off at 5, stuff like that. Google reviews, you can look on social media. I can see people go on Facebook. Right now there's so many realtors out there. Just to interview them, try to find one that matches you and who's willing to work hard for you, who actually willing to take a step further and just educate you through the process, because there's so much to learn.
I feel like your Facebook shows a lot of what you do, and so I feel like you get a lot of leads from Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question is, how about a home search? Do you set that up for me? Can I just look online?
So the home search is a great way. I think there's so many variables about getting a look into the home search. You have Zillow, you have Trulia, you have everything online. Realtors have this thing called the MLS, where we actually have the portal where all the listings go on there, like homes go on there, and we can automatically send to your email. As soon as that it goes on the market, it gets sent to your email, and it's the fastest way. Sometimes you'll be looking at homes on Zillow, and it's already like, oh my God, I want to look at this house and it was sold like 3 days ago. So it's a little frustrating trying to find your own deals on the internet because homes are selling so fast. And if you have a realtor that can find deals off market, the upcoming listing without it hitting the market, that's the best way to how to find your home too. Another thing is really try to be clear what you're looking for in the home. I'd say want to look at the school district if that's important for you, neighborhoods, layout. If that's going to be your future investment property, I would probably look into the future, like kind of see what the current cash flow looks like, what your mortgage is, where are the renters are hanging out at. Are they more in the city, suburbs, everywhere? I also look at appreciation, stuff like that. But you definitely want to get educated and just kind of really understand, like, what's your end goal with this property? What are you looking for? Are you planning to have a family? If you are having a family, do you have enough bedroom? How many kids do you want? Do you have unfinished basement that you can grow into? There's a lot of things that you can probably look into when you're kind of looking at home. But, you know, the more that you look at homes, you kind of figure out what you're looking for, because not a lot of people know what they're doing, or they know what they want during the process. But the more that you look, you kind of realize what you like, the single family, townhouses, condos, stuff like that.
Awesome. And so once we get to showings, I like a home. How do I make an offer?
Well, think about making an offer. Always run your monthly payment with a lender. You have to understand that a $350,000 in Minnesota and $350,000 in Cali could be the same price, but the property tax is literally double in Cali. So your payment might be $3,000 versus Minnesota's $2,000 a month. So the monthly payment adjusts with your property tax, your home insurance, and your principal and interest. So, but certain neighborhoods, if you're in the flood zone, your monthly payment is going to jump instantly a couple $100s. So when I go look at homes, don't look at the price point, look at your monthly payment. I would definitely talk to a lender that can run payments. I always run payments at the beginning. Typically, you want to talk to your realtor and figure out what the seller's looking for. What's the seller timeline? What kind of things that could you do to get the seller to make your offer more, I would say, how to make an offer to make it more attractive to the seller so the seller can pick your offer. Have your realtor call in there and negotiate. Find all these terms out first so you can make the best offers going in, because you don't want to make an offer going in blind and you always wonder, why do I keep losing? Do you get the closing date wrong? The seller might not even don't care about the highest offer. They just want one that's Sometimes you just get creative. It's like you buy it from them, you rent it back to them, or you buy it and give them a few days to buy their next home. What if they haven't found their next home yet? So maybe you got to push that closing date maybe 3 to 6 months out. So there's a lot of variables, and each deal is so different based on the seller. Because at the end of the day, the seller is going to pick what's best for them, and not all sellers are about money. Just to keep that in mind.
Awesome. And so, I mean, what are out-of-pocket costs?
Out-of-pocket costs, I would say the first thing is you have earnest money. Earnest money is another word of deposit. It's like you're putting a deposit for a car when you're buying a car. All here in Minnesota is typically about 1%. I know in every state is a little bit different. Out here, we're based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's about 1%. So you spend $300,000, $3,000. So you spend $200,000 house, that's $2,000. You put that deposit down. You can get that money back if something happened in the loan process. Let's say that you lost your job, or the loan couldn't get approved. You get that earnest money back. Let's say that we did a home inspection. Contingency means as in like, hey, give me 5 to 7 days, which is negotiable. 7 days negotiation, we'll negotiate. If you and the seller couldn't agree on terms, because let's say you walk into a house, the house had a bad roof and it was leaking. At that point, you can negotiate with the seller to replace the roof and replace the repairs. If the seller refused to, you can always negotiate like, hey, you know what? I want $30,000 off this deal, and you repair it yourself, or you can do an insurance claim. So whatever, everything is on negotiable. You can still negotiate and stuff. If there's a reason why you and the seller cannot agree on terms, go ahead and cancel the contract, and then you receive that deposit money back, and then you move on. Another cost out of pocket is home inspections. I don't know about in your area. You can probably look it up, but home inspection, you want to get your home inspection out here is about $300 to $500 based on square footage of your home. Duplex is a little bit more expensive, triplex, so it depends on your inspector. There's another test called the radon test. Radon test is a radiation, the test from the gas, radiation from the dirt.
Are inspections required?
Inspection is not required. As if you're like an investor or fixer-upper and your dad's a contractor, you can use them as an inspector. You're not required to have one. If you're a first-time home buyer, I highly suggest you doing one just because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. If you're looking at the stuff and they're not in the greatest shape, it could get really expensive really fast. That's what you need to watch out for. There's a home inspection, there's a radon test, and a sewage pipe. These are 3 separate inspections. If you're trying to get your money back, let's say the deal fall apart and you try to get that back, you would not get that back because that's a service that you have paid for that you're paying in. And then you're also getting a report, and then you can use those inspection report to negotiate with the seller to get the best to negotiate on your deal.
And the third one is appraisal, right? Is that another out-of-pocket cost? What is appraisal?
Appraisal is out-of-pocket cost. You can talk to your lender, all that kind of stuff. You can work with your appraisal cost, and what it is, if you're gonna be borrowing money from the bank also want to make sure that you're not overpaying for the house, because if you leave and ditch the house, the bank has to deal with it. I would say that the best example of explaining what appraisal is like a Kelly Blue Book for your car. You type in your mileage, you type in your year, and to see what your car is worth, and that's kind of see what the last data, how much cars have been sold, is the base of to show the value of that car. Same with home. They're gonna look at the size of your home, the year built, the finishes, and stuff like that, and they determine the price, and the bank would determine that's the amount of loan that they're going to give you with that appraisal.
What happens if the appraisal comes in low?
If the appraisal come in low, so let's say that you bought the house for $300,000, and the house appraised at $280,000. That's a $20,000 spread. That could be negotiated with the seller and the buyer. If in an event where the buyer and the seller can do 50-50, the seller can go all the way down and bring the price down there, or the buyer can come up the difference. But the bank would not give you any more money based off of that appraisal value.
And if it appraises high?
The buyer got a good deal. You're good. That's like you bought the house for $300,000 and it's worth $320. That means you just walked with $20,000 in equity.
Instant equity.
Yeah, those are all we want to appraise higher. That is always a good thing.
What is underwriting process?
The underwriting process is they're going to making sure that your employment is verified, making sure that you're working 40 hours, make sure your pay stub is legit. They're going to go through the whole process and process your loan, social security, all that stuff, just to make sure everything's solid. They're going to be calling your job just to verify your hours, to see are you working there. They might have other inquiries and stuff like that. This is a time you do not want to buy a car, do anything with credit pulls, because that will show a ding on your credit report and they will find out. If you're in the process of switching a job in the process, make sure you notify your lender, let them know, because if they call and you start a new job, it could slow down your process, it could kill your deal. The reason why it could kill your deal if you took a less paid job. But talk to your realtor and your lender and walk you through that process.
So technically during that time, when I have a pre-approval amount, I'm not really pre-approved yet then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you got the pre-qual, but you know, the lenders kind of want to go through the underwriting. So they give you a number of what your max payoff based on your DTI, if you have any debt or car payment and stuff like that. But they will double check your job is working. But if you're in the process of working on your job, let's say you decided to not work anymore and your job didn't know, then they're going to verify that you're actually going to still working there. Because you could be working and you quit midway. They need to make sure that you didn't quit your job because they're about to give you a $300,000 loan. So they need to verify these things even in midway. Double check that you didn't blow your money, bank statement, buy a new car, stuff like that too, and stuff like that. So they're gonna double check things 2 weeks in the process.
Got it. What happens next?
The next step is we're gonna do the final walkthrough. This is the time where you and your realtors gonna go back to the house just to double check everything with the house. If you negotiate some inspection item on the house, make sure that all that stuff has been repaired and verified with proof. Make sure there's no missing appliance. If you did state that those are gonna stay. If there's any issue, you want to do not sign the paperwork. Do not sign the paperwork if there's not going good. I will hold off the closing to sign your papers because after you sign it, you're stuck with it. But if everything looks good and everything looks like that is good, I would definitely go ahead and sign off and go to your closing and sign your paperwork. Most of the time, you're not going to be closing at your house. You're going to have a title company, which your realtor and your lender will kind of guide you through it, and you sign the paperwork. And that's our happy day. That's like the touchdown of real estate, is when you hit to the finish line, is a touchdown.
So the touchdown is closing?
Closing, yeah, that's when you sign your life away.
Okay, well, I think those are all the questions that I have as a buyer.
I hope that those questions help. We'll create more content, but please subscribe.